Tuesday, December 5th, 2023, and 2 days in a row, The View has started out with talking about the existential threat that Donald Trump is to our democracy. Um, and yes, that's 100% correct. But I have a whole bunch of issues with the way things have been addressed the last couple of days. Yesterday, Whoopi was tearing into, well, what took you all so long? We knew before. Why did you defend him then? Why should we believe you now? And like digging in on people, including Alyssa, who supported the piece of shit when he was a piece of shit then. And you should have been able to see it. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. He showed us who he was in that initial campaign, and I get it. They're all going to say the same thing. We thought we could rein him in, or they just wanted to be close to power. They're usually not going to admit that. But we can't berate the formers when at least they've seen the light. Just welcome them, throw their voices into the chorus of saying that the man is unfit to be president, especially the ones who are close. We don't need to glorify them and heroize all of these people. They're not saviors. Liz Cheney is not a fucking savior. That really annoys me, this framing that somehow she's going to save democracy. She's not the only one ringing these alarm bells. She's not the only one who is of this opinion. We know that the man wants to be a dictator. He's told us that over and over again. And if Liz Cheney decides to run a third party, she fucking spoils the whole thing. At this point, if it's a head-to-head Biden-Trump, Biden's going to win. It's going to take we're going to have to scare the shit out of everybody again, to make people understand that Trump cannot become president again. So let's all focus on this one other thing that will prevent that. That one other thing is the other person that's running, who already is the president. Let's focus on getting Joe Biden reelected. That will prevent Donald Trump from becoming president. And when Amy Alyssa Fowler Griffin says he cannot be president again at any cost, and at the same time repeatedly says she will not vote for Joe Biden, what cost? Like, that's talking out of two sides of your mouth, lady. If it's that important to you and you understand how difficult it is, then you should just be saying everyone needs to vote for Joe Biden unequivocally. Like, I don't get it. At any cost. Well, okay, he can't be president at any cost. And all we're asking you to do is to check a box next to a guy's name that you don't necessarily like. Fuck you. And this whole split ticket and like let's not throw more hats in the ring. That is not the answer. That's not going to help. And even bandying it about and heaping all this praise on Liz Cheney isn't helping. She can't win. No. The last thing that we need is to get to an election where none of the candidates hit 270 or 270. Is it 270? Electoral votes. That fucking electoral college is fucking us over again. Biden is the Democratic nominee. We need to get him reelected. That should be the plan. That should be the message. Trump is likely going to be the nominee, even if he is in jail. Like, that's just, and all the better. The more trouble he's in, the better. Let him be the nominee. And let him try to run for president from prison, or house arrest in Mar-a-Lago. I don't care. But this whole framing of, other options, or and saying that the man is a detrimental threat to democracy, and not being able to say in the second breath, so we must reelect Joe Biden. Like, it is literally the only answer, and people need to stop bandying about all this other crap Um, you know, the other thing the press secretary today said about gas prices have come down, and then she goes, Putin's war made gas prices go up. Fuck you. That was a nice excuse. Exxon made $9.1 billion last quarter, the most profitable quarter ever. $9.1 billion over a 3-month period. And they can't make gas prices a little cheaper. We never talk about the right things, which is so fucking frustrating. But fine. The media likes to go off on their little rants, and then they I don't know if it's trying to get clicks or trying to get views, but the only thing we should be talking about is how we reelect Joe Biden. All that other noise is just making it more complicated and more confusing to the average voter. And I don't usually like talking about guests, but did anyone else notice that Julia Roberts yesterday masterfully barely answered a single question that was asked? Anna asked if she has deer in the forest, and she talked about her hotel room. Somebody asked about your remembrances of Matthew Perry, and she talked about how much she loved football. Like it was really quite something how she just sort of twisted everything into however she wanted to frame it, and no one followed up with her because it doesn't really matter. But that moment where she said she's never been to the Super Bowl, and Whoopi was like, "Do you want to go to the Super Bowl?" And then just looks over at some little minion off to the side, and he goes, "Can you just take care of that?" And it's like, oh yeah, just get tickets for me and Julia to go to the Super Bowl. Julia hadn't even said yes yet, and it didn't look like she wanted to. I'm not entirely convinced about her whole football passion, but she did like the wow in a can. Anyway, so those were my takeaways from the first 2 days of the week's episodes of The View, December 2023.